morning. Take a look. It is up to $60.88 a barrel. This says Saudi Aramco has been named the most profitable company in the world, taking Apple's #1 spot. The oil and gas firm's net income surged nearly 50% to $111 billion last year. Joining us right now is the Schork Report publisher, Stephen Schork. Stephen, that's earnings, $111 billion in earnings from Saudi Aramco. Interesting to see that, as well as oil where it is. How do you see the market?
Well, we certainly are in that phase, Maria. We're at that DY over DX moment where we're starting to transition, or we shall, over the next month or so, from the lowest demand part of the season to the peak demand as we come out of refinery turnaround season and as we look forward to the summer driving season. So I'll say, though, after getting pummeled in the fourth quarter, our friends on Wall Street are back at it. They're now holding their most bullish position year to date. And when you adjust that for risk, for every $1 a speculator, a bearish speculator, is wagering on lower prices, the bulls are betting nearly $7 higher. That prices go higher. So certainly Wall Street's jumping back into the fray. When you juxtapose that with the seasonal transition from low demand to high demand, that certainly is supportive of prices. And Maria, as you know, I've been saying all along that oil in the low mid-50s, I did believe that was the bottom. Certainly we are on the trajectory, higher prices. And as we go into the summer, we'll likely see oil prices back into that mid to high $60 area.
Well, yeah, Saudi Arabia is happy that oil isn't trading at $31 like it was in 2016. So they're going to issue a $10 billion bond sale this week. And, you know, they're thinking of listing 5% of the company on the stock markets. Do you think they're going to revisit that now that we're back up at 60?
I'm certainly skeptical on that, Maria. And also, it's not just Saudi Arabia, keep in mind, that is happy that oil is no longer at $31. And I wish the president would keep this in mind also, because it's the people in Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas, North Dakota are also extremely happy that oil prices are not in that $30 range. But as far as Aramco goes, they're making hay while the sun shines. I'm skeptical, given at $60 oil, that will attract them back into this IPO idea. I think they're going to look for and need oil back in that $75 to $80 range to entice them. And I do think oil sustained at those levels is untenable.
Yeah. I think the answer, that was Susan Lee, by the way, Stephen, but I think one of the issues with the Saudi Aramco deal is that Congress opened up lawsuits potentially for Saudi Aramco. And if they list, like at the New York Stock Exchange, they're going to be liable to the victims of 9/11 because of that recent law. So that could be an issue, Liz.
Yeah, Stephen, a question for you. Do you think that the Saudis, who apparently did cut back production in the first quarter to buoy prices, is part of that political? I mean, they got so hammered by Congress and by the United States generally for what went on with the Washington Post reporter. Is this a little bit MBS reminding the United States that they are an important ally?
I'm kind of skeptical on that because at the end of the day, this comes down to dollars and cents. And Saudi Arabia has had a difficult go at it since oil prices crashed in 2015. That said, the Saudi Arabia has also had to watch over the past year cede its position as the world's largest crude oil producer to the United States. And by them trying to attempt, if that's what they're doing, to lower prices, certainly it's a harder competition with them because the United States, as a producer, their margins, their productivity are much greater than they were 4 or 5 years ago. So the increased competition is extremely dear for them.
Yeah, and the administration really opened up opportunities here in energy with the deregulation, creating this amazing situation for America to be, you know, a huge #1 exporter, actually. Stephen, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you. Stephen Schork joining us there on oil. Coming up, we are awaiting February retail sales numbers due out in just a few minutes. We're expecting a 0.3% increase for February retail sales. We'll bring you the number, and we'll see if it impacts markets. Currently up big on the China manufacturing data out this weekend, up 200 points on the